Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our yoga session. Just a few things before we start. First of all, I've said on the email that we're going to be working with difficult or challenging emotions today because it's something I get a lot of requests about. Now, I just want to say that usually this is something that we would tend to work with somebody one-to-one, and obviously I'm not with you in your space. So it's really important that if you choose an emotion as I direct you today on Zoom, that you choose something which is not overwhelming, because I want you to feel safe at all times. So if you've got something that's very traumatic that you've been through in the past, then please don't use that with what we're doing today. I'm going to give you resources, so it might be something that you work with later with somebody as a one-to-one, but we're just looking generally at working with more difficult emotions and how you can do that for yourself as well. So as always, remember, you don't need to keep looking at the screen if you don't want to. I've already said that you can have the choice whether you want to sit or lie down. So the first 20 minutes or so will be some breath work and some meditation. Then we'll do a little bit of very simple movement, and that will be followed by a yoga nidra practice, which is specifically also designed to help you work through emotions. So I just want to say a few words before we start. So the very first thing is, if you haven't got one already, because I often bring this into our class, you want to think about a safe resource. So this is something that's either something physical, so it might be a stone that you hold, it might be a picture that you've got near you, it might be a pet even that you have in your space, or it might be somewhere on your body, like it might be the softness of your hands. It might be your breath if you don't feel anxious following the breath. So for me, my safe resource has always been my breath, or it's been me imagining my mother. Although for some of you, that might not make you feel safe. So just come to a comfortable sitting or lying position, and just take a moment or two to think about what your safe resource might be. So if at any time you feel overwhelmed, you can just bring your awareness back to this safe resource. It might be a place that you visited in your imagination. You can bring yourself there. So if at any time something feels overwhelming, you can bring your awareness there. And it's also somewhere that when you're not in the yoga space, you're not on Zoom with me, you can also use that as a safe space to take your awareness to. So with that said, now think about your posture if you're sitting or lying. So if you're sitting, soften your jaw, soften the area around your eyes and your shoulders. If you're lying, maybe you've got something under your head to keep you supported. Maybe you've got something under your knees to keep your back supported. And then we're going to take 3 breaths. So we're going to breathe in through the nose if that's comfortable for you, and sigh the breath out. So just do that 3 times in your own breathing rhythm. And then just take a moment or two to observe how you are now, right now in this moment. How are you physically? How are you mentally? How are you emotionally? And just take a moment to observe your nervous system. So, for example, you might be feeling some anxiety, or you might not, or you might be feeling quite disconnected, disassociated. Any of those are fine. So, all I'm asking you to do is to observe and see if you can bring a state of kindness and compassion to how you are right now. So, try not to resist your current experience. And I'm just going to start by thinking of something that you might find slightly challenging. So maybe an emotion you've got, and if you haven't got one, that's fine too. But as I said at the beginning, if you missed it and you've just joined, please try not to pick anything that's traumatic or too overwhelming. And as you think about this, maybe it's a thought, it comes to you as a thought or a feeling, just observe as if it affects your posture even slightly. So maybe your shoulders slightly raise up, maybe your jaw tightens, maybe your breath starts to become more rapid. Just see if you can observe how that is physically. Remember, your safe resource is there for you anytime you need to. And then see if you can observe it as a feeling physically in your body. So very commonly, it might be butterflies in the tummy, or it might be tension at your heart, but try to now come right out of your head and observe this physically. And you might find it helpful to take your hands to the place where you're feeling it. Remember, not anything overwhelming. Keep trying to observe it physically, not mentally now, and see if it has a vibration, a shape, color. Is it heavy or light, fast or slow? Remember, at any time, if it's overwhelming, come back to your safe resource. And now just breathe into this shape or feeling. Breathing slowly through the nose if you can. And feeling on the exhalation that you are just slightly releasing it. So see if you can breathe in kindness and acceptance, allowing it. And a sense of release on the exhalation. Keep observing the feeling. If you can't observe anything, that's also fine. And now we're going to set an intention. And you can say the words mentally or out loud to yourself as I say them. I ask to release and purge this emotion from my body and from every cell in my body and all my cellular memories. I release on every exhalation. I ask to release and purge this feeling from my body and from every cell in my body and all my cellular memories. I release on every exhalation. And keep bringing in kindness and compassion to this physical sensation. If you go into the head or the story, come back into your body. And I'm just going to read out something from Eckhart Tolle. So he says, it is our state of consciousness which is healing. It is our state of consciousness which will heal us. When we are stressed, we are not so present. The body keeps the score. So trapped emotions may keep us stuck and feeling unwell. So these might include things such as overwhelm, anxiety, self-blame, disgust, self-doubt, resentment, confusion, or even gaslighting ourselves, not allowing ourselves to feel or denying what we feel. So again, just feel the emotion as a physical sensation. Breathe into it, breathing in kindness, breathing in compassion, almost like it's part of you. It's maybe your inner child. Bring kindness to it. You're not pushing it away and you're not trying to distract yourself. And you're not resisting how you feel. And also remember that emotions come and go. They're not good or bad unless they are stuck. And when we stay present to a feeling, we can begin to release it, even if it's been there for many years. And bring your awareness away from that feeling now. Come back to the breath if you're okay with the breath. I'm going to take one hand to the heart, the other to the belly. And we're just going to take a moment or two to breathe in through the nose, keeping the breath lower down in the belly, but keeping the breath gentle. So think of the breath as being slow and low, and keep your awareness on the exhalation. So you feel you're releasing on the out breath. And then to help with our state of being, to help release, we're going to chant 3 times to the belly, 3 times to the heart, and 3 times by palming the eyes. We're going to chant very simply, remembering that chanting is optional. You can just breathe if you prefer. So we can either chant Shante, Shante, Shante. So that counts as once. Shanti 3 times to the belly, 3 times to the heart, 3 times to the eyes. Or if you prefer, you can chant peace, 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 or you can just breathe. So I'm going to start with you because you want to do this in your own breathing rhythm, in your own pitch. My breathing might be different from yours. I'm going to do it 3 times to my belly with you, and then I'm going to leave it to you to do 3 times to your heart, 3 times to your eyes. So when you're ready, we'll do this together, breathing in. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And then 3 times in your own breathing rhythm to the heart, 3 times to the eyes. And then rest your hands down so I can see when you've finished. You can take an extra breath whenever you need to. When you finish, just sit or lie quietly with your eyes closed, being as present as you can in the body with the breath. And I'm going to ask you a reflective question. And the reflective question, which means it does not need an immediate answer, you just drop it into the stillness and the silence, is what distraction do I use to not feel? What distractions do I use to not stay present with my feelings? Remembering that emotions come, emotions go. So see yourself as the space in which your emotions arise and fall. And then when you're ready, and if you'd like, I'd like you to come down to lying, but it's also fine to remain seated. And you can lie in Shavasana, classic yoga, relaxation posture on your back, maybe starting with the knees bent to support the back, or in any way that's comfortable for you. You can lie on a bed or on a sofa. And just while you're getting ready and lying, we're going to do some very simple, gentle movements in a minute, but just relax. I want to read you out a couple of other quotes which I came across this week, and I thought they would be helpful for our session. So one was actually from a podcast I was listening to, and it was said that falling apart is actually falling into place. Falling apart is falling into place. So often we need the dark stuff to come up, and it might seem very terrible and difficult and chaotic at the time, but it's in order for a new way of being to come about. I think I said on the email, we can't make an omelette without breaking eggs. So you might feel a bit like your eggs are broken at the moment, but it is for a higher purpose. And the other quote that I really like, which I wrote down, was the dark night of the soul lasts as long as we continue to deny love for ourselves. The dark night of the soul lasts as long as we continue to deny love for ourselves. So just for a moment, think about how you can bring compassion to yourself, more compassion, acceptance, non-resistance, and that you can allow yourself to feel. It's okay to feel. And I say this as 20 years ago, I was married to quite an abusive man. And he would say to me, you don't feel that. Or I would say, I feel such and such. And he would say, you don't feel that, you don't feel that. So he was actually gaslighting me, denying my feelings. And I remember when I became very ill with ME, I went into hospital, and there were workshops up, and the signs would say, dealing with feelings. And I remember being very puzzled at that because I didn't actually know what a feeling was. But, you know, we can't begin to heal ourselves unless we do feel and begin to kind of unwind all the tightness that we might feel. So just feel that you are creating a safe space for yourself to feel. Like I said at the beginning of the session, nothing that's too overwhelming or traumatic, please, because I'm not with you in your space. And remember to bring your awareness to your safe resource at any time you need to. Anything you feel, grief, pain, sadness, anger, it's okay. You are allowing yourself to be a safe space for this. And now we're just going to do some very simple movement before we come into our longer yoga nidra practice. So if it's okay for you, you can bring the hands down beside the hips, palms down, and you can leave the knees bent or the legs out straight. We're going to start just by breathing in and lifting the arms up and behind us. And if our shoulders are tight, you can open the arms wide. They don't have to go all the way behind you. And then we're going to chant the palms back to the hips. Or if you don't want to chant, you just breathe. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So at the end of the last Shanti, the palms come back beside the hips. So it's like a moving meditation. Inhale, lifting up. Just keeping your mind absorbed in the movement, the breath, and the chant. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So just do that 3 to 5 times, depending on your energy levels. So listen in and just move in a way which is kind and compassionate. If you just want to rest and you don't want to chant, that's also fine. But Shanti is a very powerful Sanskrit word for peace. We're bringing peace to the whole of our system, mind, body, emotions, spirit. Allowing the mantra to heal you. And when you've finished, just observe the peace that the mantra has brought. Maybe observing the spaces between the thoughts. And the space after the exhalation. And feeling that you are releasing anything you don't want to hold onto on that exhale. You're letting go. So in yoga, the exhalation is called the energy of apana. Apana is the detoxifying prana, the releasing energy. So focus on the out breath and the space, the sacred pause after the out breath. And again, just think about how you can bring more self-compassion into your life. More acceptance, more kindness, not trying to please other people, not trying to fit in, just allowing yourself to be just as you are and knowing that that is fine. And then if you would like, I'm going to invite you to do a very simple bridge posture. So if you've got anything under your head, please remove it. And if you don't want to do this posture, you can just visualize it or relax. So have the knees bent, Feet hip width apart, heels coming into the buttocks. Turn palms down to the mat. And if you like, it can actually be quite nice to have a cushion or a block between your knees. So if you've got one, you might like to use it. If you haven't, that's also fine. I'm just doing this if you want to look at your screen. And then we're going to press on the hands and the feet as we breathe in, keeping the back of the neck long, lifting the bottom to come onto the shoulders. And then as you exhale, take the navel to the spine, imagining you're zipping yourself up on that exhale. So everything is nice and firm. And you might like to repeat that. Inhale, coming up onto the shoulders. Keep the back of the neck long, the knees stable. Exhale, navel to spine as you zip up and release the hips down. And just do that 2 or 3 times, resting out when you need to, always listening into your energy levels, resting out completely if you need to. So if you're having a very tired morning, it's really fine just to rest. And then to counter pose, just take the knees, one knee then the other into the belly. Rock out the spine from side to side. And then we're going to do just a little bit more movement with the chants because the chant is very healing. But again, it's optional. You don't have to do this if you don't want. So take the hands around the knee or below the knee. Inhale and let the knees move away from you as the elbows straighten. And then we chant the knees into the belly. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Inhale, knees move away from the belly, the elbows straighten. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And just do that 2 or 3 times in your own breathing rhythm. Resting out if you need to. And remember, if you don't want to do the chant, you can just do the breath. And then when you're ready, relax yourself down in any way that's comfortable for you. And then just focus on a sense of the mind being peaceful. Keep your awareness as much as you can in the present moments. And for that, it's helpful to be in the body or to watch the breath. Just observe how the back is feeling, the weight of the body, a sense of being held by your support, and a sense of being grounded. So bring your awareness to your feet and your tailbone. And the area around the base of the spine, Muladhara chakra. So when we work with challenging emotions, it's helpful to stay grounded. So the movements we were doing were about being grounded. And just imagine you are now blowing the air, the exhale, into a balloon. And any emotions you no longer want to hold onto are being blown on the exhale into the balloon, which is getting bigger and bigger on every out breath. And when you're ready, you might like to imagine you're tying a knot in the balloon and releasing it, and it's drifting away from you. Imagine there's an open window, even if there isn't, and the balloon is floating out through the open window and away. So again, you might like to repeat the intention. I ask to release and purge difficult emotion, which you might like to name, from my body and from every cell in my body and all my cellular memories. I ask to release and purge the emotion, which you can name, from my body and from every cell in my body and all my cellular memories. I bring loving kindness to the emotion as I release it on every exhale. Resisting nothing. And now we're going to go into our Yoga Nidra practice. So I'm just going to stop the recording and record again. So while I'm doing that, please do get ready if you would like for Yoga Nidra.